Let me say a pleasant good morning to you, members of the press, and of course, in my own capacity, I would like to say welcome this morning for coming to our call. As you may be aware, we are in the period of elections, and the John Security will continuously and always seize any opportunity to speak to issues relating to security and control in these elections or during these elections period, and specifically considering elections, campaign activity, and all other related election situations that may go on during this period. And we have invited you here this morning as the Joint Security Media Relations team to use your various platforms to inform the Liberian people and, of course, extended resident at large about our activities during this period of elections. But as we get along, let me just announce to you that we are here as a team, as a collaboration. The Ministry of Justice is represented by the Director of Press and Public Affairs, Mrs. Maud Suma. She's here. And we also have the Liberian National Police, represented by its Public Relations Affairs Chief, in person of DCP Moses Carter Sr. And of course, we also have the Liberia Immigration Service, the LIS, represented by its Public Relations Chief, in person of Ibrahim Dole. And speaking to you, I'm Michael Jipley, representing the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. So this is a joint collaboration of the Press and Public Affairs departments of the Joint Security Actors, and perhaps we should have the Ministry of National Defense in our midst that should be represented by St. Collins, and of course our Liberian National Fire Service counterpart. They are also part of this movement. And as we go along, let us first provide this disclaimer. The Joint Security Media Relations team, it is not new, and it is not an establishment for the purpose of only these elections. The Joint Security Media Relations team was established in 2020 during the conduct of the 2020 midterm or secretarial elections, when there was a need to have a kind of information dissemination mechanism that will reflect the views of all Joint Security actors. It was there and then the Joint Security Media Relations team was established. We provide significant coverage and, of course, responsibilities in terms of information dissemination to the public during the 2020 midterm elections. And then thereafter, we've been collaborating, but we saw it needful to equally expand and reach out with more effectiveness to the public with regards to the happenings during the period of these elections. And so, as a team, we are going to be talking about a few things that will characterize our responsibility during this period of elections. We'll talk about the general functions of the Joint Security and Media Relations team during this period of elections, what we will be doing. We'll also talk about the coordination between the media and that of the Joint Security Media Relations team. We'll talk about the coordination between the public, and that public will include the CSO, what is that? Okay, the CSO, and we'll talk about other key components of our societal structure that are meaningful and continue to serve as our partner in this endeavor. We'll talk about how well we expect to collaborate during these elections. Then we'll talk about the importance of how we expect information, to flow between the joint security and its partners during this period. So we're going to be working together as partners from now to the end of elections and beyond this period. So this is not just about these elections, but moving forward, you will see us as a team coming out to speak to issues where necessary. And so I would take the Minister of Justice, Mr. Soma, perhaps she'll respond on one or two issues, and then followed by Moses Carter, and then maybe Dollar can close it up. They will call this press conference. But thereafter, before she speak, when they're done speaking, we'll take questions from any of you guys if you may, and then thereafter we'll call the press conference. So, Mr. you're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Chipley, and let me just say a pleasant good morning to all of you who are present here this morning, those of you who are viewing this press briefing by way of online television and what have you. So just as my colleague rightly said, the Joint Security Media Relations team is one of such media team that we actually look forward to all of you guys to depend on when it comes to disseminating information as it relates to happenings within the security sector. Today we are here as a team, and one of the things I would like to expound on or to bring back to memory is that of a meeting that was held on the 8th of August at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex. During that meeting, you will agree with me that the Joint Security decided to meet with presidential candidates, independent candidates from political parties to see how we as the Joint Security could build some level of trust and confidence in the dispense of our duty. And so that invite was sent out to all of those candidates to hold that meeting so that we could see how we could share our ideas, to see what could be put in place appropriately for a very peaceful elections come October 10th this year. And during that meeting, there were a lot of things that were put forth, but I just want to flag a few out to you so that the public indeed will see that we are serious and intentional about what we say and what we are doing as joint security. That meeting under the theme, say yes to peace and no to violence, calls for all political parties to send their campaign schedule so that we will be able to put in place a mechanism that will provide safety and security for all Liberians during the time of their campaigns. It will interest you to know that to date, we still have not received schedules from those political parties. We received campaign schedule from the Congress or the Coalition for Democratic Change. And as it marks today being the official opening of their campaign activities, we want to reiterate that this is not very fine and it's not healthy, because if we do not have a schedule that will help us to be able to do our work, it's going to pose serious problem for us. But however be it, we agreed to and we all came up with some commitments, and because of time, I will not read it, but we'll have it shared on our page, and we'll also have it disseminated to other media houses so that we all can look at it either by way of print or electronic. So that you will agree that in order for us to have a very peaceful election, hereafter, we all as Liberians have to understand that it is our responsibility as citizens to remain peaceful, to remain civil, and to be true to what we are doing. Elections is going to happen, and after the elections, we're still going to have one Liberia where we all will live in, we interact with ourselves. So the question is, after the elections, what do we do? Are we going to be peaceful people? Are we going to be people who will be all over the place causing problems? No. That's why we, as the media team from the joint security sector, have decided that we do not sit supinely and let everyone say or think the way they want to think, but rather we create a platform where we can have shared information. For instance, like today's activity, if there is anything happening in any part of the area, you can just call on any of us. We're going to have our numbers given so that you can call and let us know exactly what's happening, and we can be able to do some rapid response to whatever is going to be reported. So this is just one of those things that we're going to be doing, and we look forward to have everyone involved in it, not thinking that probably, oh, I'm not part of this, party, I'm from different camp, but it's just one team. We are all working towards one common goal.
Well, like she have said, there are other issues that we, as media practitioners from the security sector, will also be looking at, which has to do with officers' misconduct. But it is very key because officers will be coming in conflict with the surveillance, likewise the media practitioners. So if there are any officers' misconduct during these election during periods, it is important that you either get to us through the various numbers that we have announced so that the appropriate actions can be taken through the various professional standard divisions of various entities.
Okay, so let me say good morning to all of you members of the press and to the rest of you that are following us on social media, either in Liberia or in the diaspora. Like the rest of my colleagues have said to you, this is a joint initiative or a joint effort on the part of the joint security comprising of joint security institutions to collaborate, coordinate, cooperate in the discharge, gathering and discharge of information, as well as working with you members of the press. Before the campaign opening, we held series of dialogues with various stakeholders, and more just explain to you one of those dialogues with the political parties. We held meetings with members of the press through the Press Union of Liberia. Its acting president, Daniel Yan Kona, was present in that meeting, and we dialogue on issues that have led to crisis between police, or you may say joint security, and the media. And how can we prevent the reoccurrence of those issues, such as police brutality, such as provocations from media practitioners? How can we prevent that? And the dialogue was very healthy, and the media spoke its mind, the joint security spoke its mind, and we came up with one understanding of working together and ensuring that we prevent issues of brutality and working together in promoting the peace and stability of the state. This is a commitment that will be very much firm in withholding, in making sure that these elections come and go with a very good track record of coordination between the police, if not the police. So I'm using police because the police is the umbrella word, but we're talking about the joint security and the media. And so As part of this coordination, we are committed to making sure that, like Eddie said, issues where members of the press have experiences of brutality, alleged brutality, or assault on any of you members of the press, do not hesitate to bring those issues immediately to our attention. The SG will provide you numbers that you can call at any given time. We hope that you can keep those numbers and share with your colleagues. But do not hesitate to call those numbers that will be giving you, so that you file in your report, if not official or whatever information shared to us. We will guide you on how you can complain and how you can get results from your complaint. The Joint Security is a professional, institution that promotes ethical standards. And so we wouldn't want any of our officers coming into conflict or breaching the standards of policing. And so please take note of this. It's not just about writing all the reports and sending it to international partners. It's about working with us to make sure that you get results from issues that you come into conflict with members or actors of the Joint Security. In every organization, there are good people and there are bad people. But our institution does not shield any bad person. If you act in any form and manner that goes contrary to ethics or professionalism, you will be dealt with in line with our ethical standards of the Joint Security, individual Joint Security institutions. So that is for the coordination, and we are very much committed to ensuring that these elections will come and go with good coordination between members of the press and that of the Joint Security. You can trust us for that. The Joint Security Media Relations Team is a conglomeration of public affairs actors from different Joint Security institutions: police, Liberia National Police, Liberia Immigration Service, Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Liberia Fire Service, and then we're also working in close concert with the Ministry of National Defense through its Public Affairs Office. This is a strong team. Our communication system is very well coordinated, such that before information is released to you, members of the press, it has to go through reviews and inputs, so that at the end of the day, whatever that is communicated to you meets the acquiescence or inputs of members of the Joint Security, inclusive of the heads of the Joint Security, who provide approvals of statements. And this is something that we hope to do. So in line with this, whenever any of you members of the press have any issue whatsoever, one of the things that we spoke to in those coordination or dialogue meetings with the press is the issue of misinformation and disinformation. Today, we have come to realize that some institutions are interested in breaking the news. So in most of the headlines, you will see breaking news. We're asking you have the right to break your news. But as much as you have the right to break your news, think about the implication of the news that you are breaking on the peace and stability of the state. Think about that. All of us have a responsibility to protecting the peace of this country. It is just not the responsibility of the Joint Security. It's the responsibility of the citizenry. Whether you come from the media, civil society, the religious community, it is all of us responsibility to protecting the peace and stability of the state. So as you report your news, please bear in mind of the impact of the kind of information that you will release to the public. Do your cross-checking of your facts. In other words, observe the fundamental principles of journalism, which speaks to your news being accurate, balanced, and credible. Because when you do that, you are saving Liberia from resorting to its ugly past. Liberians are ready to promote, coordinate the peace of this country, and we are no more ready to resort this country to its ugly past. Like Maud said, these elections, consider these elections to be events. They will come and they will go. Liberia is our common denominator. Whoever wins these elections, Liberians have won. But the protection of the peace of this country is what all of us should crave for. The Joint Security Leadership has also established a Joint Security Special Investigative Team on these elections. That Special Investigative Team has a term of reference of investigating with time electoral matters, ranging from violence as well as other electoral issues, and reporting to the public with time. We take due cognizance of criticisms of the past that we take too long to investigate electoral matters. However, it is important to note to you members of the press that the Joint Security relies on information sharing as a way of succeeding with investigations. And so this team is going to be very robust in responding to incidents of electoral violence, getting the facts of those incidents, and making sure that people who are responsible for violence and other electoral issues that undermine the peace and stability of the state do not go with impunity, but are made to face the full weight of the law. We urge the public to coordinate with information sharing, because we cannot succeed in any investigation in the absence of information sharing from the public. We urge the public to assist us with any useful information that will lead us to ensuring that people who perpetuate violence do not go with impunity. And so the Joint Security remains committed in working with you members of the press. And I should say to you that today's activity, marking the official launch of the Coalition of Democratic Change campaign, the security protocol is well on course. Well on course. Our deployment of officers is well on course. Our intelligence team is also working assiduously, and they have been deployed. We are working to making sure that this day goes on without any semblance of anything ugly that will undermine the peace and stability of the state. As part of the statement, proactive statement released to the public, we emphasize two cardinal things. There are people who do not have anything to do with the campaign rally of the CDC today. If you do not have anything to do with the CDC rally today, stay away from it. Similarly, if Party X or Y is launching its campaign, if you don't have anything to do there, stay away from them. Because we don't want unnecessary provocations that will lead to an upsurge of violence. That is what we're trying to avoid. So if you don't have anything to do with today's campaign activity of the CDC, especially as it relates to its official launch, stay away from it. Go about your normal business. Like Moore said, we are encouraging all other political parties to give us their campaign schedules. What it does is that it puts us in a better position to prepare ourselves to police or to provide security for those parties so that it avoids conflict. The world over is looking at Liberia. We have witnessed what has happened to other countries. Liberia wants to set an impeccable record of democracy. That these elections will be held under peaceful atmosphere to prove to the rest of the world that Liberia is ready for peace. And that we are now prepared to go back to the dark days. So it behooves all of us, political actors, non-actors of politics, to be able to work in protecting the peace and stability of the state. So everything is in tight. Whatever your issues are today, we stand prepared to answer your questions today. Our phones will not be off. Our phones will be on 24 hours to answer to your questions. Do not hesitate. We ask you to avoid speculation because we are just one step away from you in answering your questions. If you don't get Carter, you can get Dolly. If you don't get Dolly, you can get Jeepley. If you don't get Jeepley, you can call Maud, and we will respond to you. Because information sharing is very vital, especially timely information sharing is vital to avoiding speculation. We take due note of that. So to the members of the press, we avail ourselves to you. And lastly, there is a circular that is on social media, which is widely being spread, that it is the police that plays or the joint security that plays that circular on social media. If you go on the Liberia National Police page, when we publish any information as part of our coordination, you will see it on LIS page, official page. You will see it on LDA page, official page. Ministry of Justice page, official page. Liberia National Police, official page. If you don't see any information on any of these pages, consider said information to be fake and non-consider it. So that information that has been spread about the protocol of CDC campaign launch today with a lot of grammatical issues as well as spellings, that is not from the joint security. Because if you look on the LNP page, you will not see it. LIS page, you will not see it, and the rest of the joint security public relations pages. We just want to make that very clear. We have a lot of smart people in the joint security, and the way we communicate is such that it goes from one hand to another. We will not make elementary mistakes. We know that no one is immune to making mistakes. But as far as it goes from one hand to another, what I don't see, another person will see it. We just urge you to take due note of that. That is not from us. So having said that, we are very much open to working with you, members of the press. Feel free, as always, to keep in touch with us. And this coordination is going to go even beyond the elections so that we continue to build relationship with the press. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I think all has been said. Like my colleagues have all iterated, this is not a process that will discriminate. It's an inclusive process, and as we will do for Party A as government in terms of information dissemination and coordination, we will similarly do for all individuals, institutions that has a stake in these elections. So we want to say we will remain open for the purpose of these of reaching out
told the John security, it is clear that it's either you have a tip up about a situation, or you have a probably inquiry to make or a special concern. And this is not just only the media, the public in general. You may come from within Liberia or outside. These numbers are available for all. And as we announce the numbers, we want our people to take advantage of them. Perhaps you weren't able to follow numbers from the Liberian National Police that were given out at specific locations for a specific situation that you could call to reach out to. You could still make use of these numbers we are just about to provide. And it is basically about addressing elections-related responses for or from the John security. But regardless of that, any other happenings that you cannot reach to any of the law enforcement institutions or individual at the moment, you can make use of these numbers and call us, and then we'll revert to whatever or whoever authority that has responsibility to deal with this issue. And so you can call 0770 4761 and 74. You will reach to the DEA immediately. If you are outside Liberia, you can add +231 to that number. You will reach out to us. And that is for the purpose of sending out information, requests, or perhaps anything that has to do with the elections. We will respond. You can also call 0770 800 122. If you are outside of Liberia, you can add 231 and you will get the Liberian National Police to respond. You can also call the 0880 166 103. You will get somebody to pick up from the LIS. In addition to that number, you can also call 0770 40 2346. So one of these numbers, when you are out of Liberia, just add 231. And for the Ministry of Justice, also you can call 0770 133 197. Or better still, you can dial 0886 82 8866 or 0886 683305. All of these numbers are active henceforth and are on time to respond to them.
And for complaints of misconduct of officers from the Liberia Immigration Services, you can call 0880 166 103. That's the Liberia Immigration Service. Misconduct of any immigration officer, just call 0880 166 103. And the issue about neutrality when it comes to this media response team of the joint security, we want the public to rest assured that we are just as neutral
As possible.
as state security everywhere remains neutral. And that's why you need to trust and believe that we will deliver as required.
Okay, so on that note, we'd like to say thank you for playing your listening role. And perhaps before we call this press conference today, we would like to take questions. If you may, you can just raise your finger up, call your institutions, your name, and ask your questions, and we'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah,
My name is Victoria Wise from the Front Page Africa.
thank you.
Yeah, my question has to do with the schedule of the campaign. Is it related to, is it restricted to a particular person because you're talking about you don't have fake schedule. So how about the other political parties? They will not go along doing their thing because you don't have a schedule.
No, he didn't say fake. He said fixed.
Fixed schedules,
Meaning,
yeah.
I think he said the Joint Security have received campaign strategies from only the Coalition for Democratic Change. So meaning We're encouraging all political actors in these process to similarly follow suit by sharing their campaign activities schedule with the joint security. In that, I think it will help us to, work around the issues of control in terms of movement and what have you. I think that's what we're referring to.
So if you don't receive it from them now, what will be the next step?
The next step is to basically ensure that we continue to exercise our statutory right, statutory function of providing security for everyone.
And the thing is that the campaign remains open up to October 8th. October 8th.
Mhm.
And so I believe probably those other parties or political parties that have not yet submitted their schedules are working on them, and subsequently before the 8th or by the 8th, they will have been able to make it available so that we as the joint security can also do what we're supposed to do.
Okay, yes.
So yeah, my name is Stephen Roberts, and I report for ABC Radio. I'm a bit concerned on key other issues, but we'll start with the Ministry of Justice. How are you talking about the refusal of the non-adherence of political parties sometimes submitting their political sessions to you regarding their rallies? So in recent time, I was part of your joint security dialogue with political parties, and some of these key issues were raised. So I don't know, why up to current they are not started adhering to it. Is it that you have not been engaging them, or maybe you are not working in line with the National Elections Commission guidelines, because they are also told, the NEC have also told political parties that they should also be able to submit similar sessions to them. So that they can be aware about their activities. My next question to the LMP is number one, media practitioners are still concerned about their safety in the upcoming elections, because on many occasions there have been reports of brutality against media practitioners, especially when they are on their operations. So you promised us during our last dialogue meeting that there are going to be some accreditation to media practitioners so that they can be identified by other officers. Another concern could be, recent time we saw you putting out some graduates from the academy. I don't know how prepared are these people, especially young people coming up, and this is their first time coming to get engaged into the issue of election activities. How prepared are they, especially in engaging themselves with peaceful citizens, of, if you may, some violators, and how are they prepared to engage them in the process of the election?
Good question.
It will be, another concern.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me just speak to the issue about political parties not yet submitting their campaign schedules to the joint security. Like I said, today, that meeting, that engagement was held on the 8th of August, and today is the 7th, so it's like 1 month now. So I do believe that in every setting, people have their own protocols and procedures in doing whatever they're supposed to be doing, but we as a sitting government and the joint security, I would say, we still believe that these political parties are going to make their schedules available, because the fact that they responded to our call, if they were not responsive, I think they would not have been there. But because they went there and we had a very cordial, very fruitful discussion, I do believe that they are working on modalities to make sure that they make those schedules available. And trust me, when those schedules are presented to us, we will work accordingly, even if they do not make available those schedules. Like my colleague said, we do have a responsibility to provide security. We as the response team, as media response team, our relations team, we will also be there to have you informed from time to time. I heard you say, is it that the Ministry of Justice is not engaging them or asking them or reminding them that we have asked you to do this and we're not hearing from you? I think these are some of the measures that we are taking here. We're now informing. We're not saying it openly that everybody would hear. The larger public will know that we are concerned. We want to see it happen because we want to have a very peaceful election. During the election and post-election, we want everyone to say, we made it, we did it. And if it works, everyone feels good. So I don't think they are refusing. I think we still have time, and I believe they are responsible enough, and they do also know that. Another thing we did that we did not make mention of, every presidential candidate was asked to, because this was an issue about trust. Probably you say, well, I don't trust the police because in past times sometimes people say, oh, they branded the police. But this time around, I think it's a plus because we were able to have four police officers, assigned to each of the presidential candidates as a way of giving you security. If you wanted it, or if you didn't want it, well, it was left to you to decide. But I think everything is cordial, and because of that, I believe these the campaign schedules will be made available. And when we receive them, we will work along with them.
So to your question about the thing you asked about
Media first,
media, right? Safety, right?
Controls.
I told you initially that we have already started, dialoguing and working with you, members of the press. We give you our word in that dialogue. We're committed to protecting you. And we also charge you to ensure that you remain professional in the discharge of your duties. Because, it's a kind of a two-way, relationship. As much as you expect us to be ethical and professional, we also expect that you, from the media community, will be ethical and professional in the discharge of your duties. And you also committed to us that you remain, as always, professional in the discharge of your duties. So it's a consideration. So we look forward to holding you accountable and you holding us accountable to such commitments. To the issue of those who graduated from the academy, it was basically intended to ensure that we beef up the manpower of the joint security in policing these elections. And those officers graduated are certainly going to work, going to be deployed across Liberia in making sure that there's police presence or joint security presence in the various counties. So we are ready, very much ready.
And in support of that, there was also a series of trainings that were being conducted during this period, such as election security. It gave the officers a broader idea how to come in contact with media persons, how to come in contact with surveillance during this election period. So we believe as joint security actors that those officers are well trained and they are up to the task to protect lives and properties in Nigeria.
Okay, so any other person, any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I wanted to know how do you report misconduct against an AFL officer and fire service, since they are not present here?
All right. I think, like I initially stated on my intro, this is a conglomeration of all job security actors, right? And we're supposed to have folks from the defense here. But howbeit, this is an ongoing process. When next it becomes prudent for us to meet, I'm sure by then we'll be able to announce to you, through that representation, by what means you can be able to reach out to the AFL to complain any unscrupulous act involving an officer of the armed forces of Liberia. So it's a continual process. We're sure we'll meet again, we'll do that.
So just beyond just meeting again, to your question, right? These numbers that we just announced are just oral, but we're going to do it written, and you're going to have all of these numbers, and then you're going to have some descriptions about institutions,
Yes.
right? So MOD, Ministry of Defense, is going to be there. LIS is going to be there. Fire Service is going to be there. LD is going to be there. Police is going to be there. So it's just a matter of just orally announcing to you a few numbers, but we're going to give you holistically all the numbers.
Sure.
And just to clear some doubts, because I know some of you viewers, even you media people who are here today, may be thinking, is it only when a party is having a political campaign that's what we're going to have this? We're going to have simultaneously ongoing, press conferences.
Yeah.
And it is very important that you cover these press conferences because we got a lot of information we're going to be giving to you, and we want you to subsequently, feed it out there to the public. We rely on you. We have to work together. Without you, the people remain uninformed. We don't want the people to live in doubt. So we highly appreciate this, and we want you to know that it's an ongoing process.
So on that note, we'd like to say thanks very exceedingly for the time and covering press conference. Again, as we close this is an ongoing process. Whenever it becomes prudent, we'll call you folks from the media, to use your channel to give out relevant information to the public. So again, on behalf of the team, I want to thank you.